Lucy, you mentioned the Texas Ohio State game week 1. What other games do you kind of have circled for the first couple of weeks that maybe the casual college football fan should be excited about?
The one that I'm really excited about week 1 is LSU Clemson. I believe they're playing that game in Atlanta. Clemson right now is my pick for national champion. They are they are insanely good football team in the sense that, especially because like Clemson, we haven't really talked about the last few years because those things haven't been as Clemson. One, Dabo has been like, you know what, I'll use the portal. He's used it a few times. Big deal. That's a huge deal. That's like, we aren't talking about it enough that like if Dabo's giving an inch, like that's a huge like move forward for Clemson. Plus,
for those who don't know, Dabo swore he would never go into the transfer portal
ever. The only time he like used it was to get a Clemson player who had left and then wanted to come back to Clemson. Yes. And then you have Klubnik, who is like, I think up there with Arch as like one of the best quarterbacks in college football. He looked great last season. He has a ton of surrounding production around him. But what I really love about Clemson this year is that they went and got Tom Allen from Penn State. They are making changes to make their defense better. And Tom Allen is up there with Jim Knowles in the sense of like, these are the coordinators you want to pay for. These are the coordinators that are going to change the makeup of your football team. And then also like they're in the ACC. Things are a little bit easier there.
Why like that, though? They're
a little bit easier there. There's a little less competition. And so that's why this LSU game is a really big deal. And then on the flip side for LSU, Brian Kelly, no one is happy. No one is happy with the way that is going. LSU has spent an insane amount of money on Brian Kelly. They spent an insane amount of money on NIL and this football team and getting guys in the portal. And so like LSU kind of needs to come out and be like, oh yeah, we are contenders for the playoff this year. Because if they win that game, that immediately already puts them in the conversation, which like, I'm not saying they're not in it, but they're not in it the way that Georgia's in that conversation. They're not in it the way that Texas is in that conversation. And so it's a big deal for both schools, but Clemson, I think a little bit more just because their schedule doesn't give them a ton of opportunity to kind of get those marquee wins. Week 1 against LSU, especially if we remember what happened to Clemson last year when they opened the season against Georgia and they got demolished.
This game is actually in Clemson and there's
Clemson?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was Atlanta. That's way better.
Yeah, there's some controversy around this game because LSU's coach, Brian Kelly, came out and he called Clemson Death Valley Jr. And then there was a headline.
Couple of Death Valleys cutting it up.
There was a headline, Stugotz, that I see some headlines and I'm like, tailor-made for Stugotz. Clemson planning to handle Death Valley debate in opener versus LSU.
Oh, that's so good. Goosebumps.
Did you see, I think it was Brian Kelly, Dabo came out and like went to some like bar and it was a bar owned by a country singer named Brian Kelly. And he the whole time thought it was LSU's Brian Kelly. So like he hit him up and was like, hey dude, congrats on the bar. This is awesome. And they were even like, Brian Kelly's coming out to perform. And Dabo was like, I didn't know he was a singer. This is amazing. And the whole time thought it was Brian Kelly. And then Brian Kelly was like, no, man, I don't own a bar, and I'm not.
He might have to own a bar and become a singer after this year. I mean,
but he'll have enough money to do that.
Wait, is that game in the history of college football? Combined 2 head coaches. Has there ever been more arrogance on one football field in the history of college football?
That's tough.
I know.
And like. It's because I like Dabo. I think his arrogance is earned. Brian,
well, he's got a national championship. Brian Kelly does not. Right?
Yeah, and Brian Kelly is just like deeply unlikable. But yeah, that's a pretty arrogant. But like, God, that's so funny. I don't know.
Yes.
When you guys close your eyes and you think Death Valley, are you thinking LSU or are you thinking Clemson?
LSU every time.
Yeah.
And like, it's so silly that they're both the Tigers too. Like, oh my goodness, you guys are like so unoriginal.
Get your own identity, right?
Be your own person.
Right?
When they were arguing about like who is the real Death Valley, Dabo was like, Clemson started using it first, so that is why Clemson's the original Death Valley. But then I looked up when LSU started using it. They started using it 11 years later, and they beat Clemson, so they were like, Death Valley.
They took the Death Valley from Clemson. Yes.
That's cool.
Right. Yeah.
That actually rips. That's awesome.
I like the idea of whoever wins that game gets Death Valley until they play next, you know?
Yeah, they get to be Death Valley and they get to choose the other team's mascot. You're not the Tigers anymore.
Lucy or Goosey? I guess you already answered this. Brian Kelly is on the hot seat.
Oh, he's definitely on the hot seat. Yeah. I mean, like,
Lucy?
I don't know how much his buyout is, though. There's a chance it's so high that he's not on the hot seat.